new giveaway.
The D&D Beyond Players Bundle.
Tons of character options.
Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment down below on the video so you're entered to win a great giveaway coming from us very soon.
Alright guys, welcome back to the Subclass series. Moving on to the next and final
I was
official, as of recording, Subclass. Order of Scribes Wizard.
Right.
So, if you're new to the channel, to the Subclass series, what we're going to do is we're going to go through all the abilities gained in the subclass, and we're going to go rate its RP value, combat value, and overall class synergy based on how the abilities gained in the subclass improve on the base class abilities. Today's video is brought to you by Neverending and their new Kickstarter. Give a face to all of those characters and NPCs that have been living in your head. With Neverending, you can create and customize all kinds of characters with a variety of features, weapons, armor, poses, and more. Play online, you can make character tokens to use in your games. You can even turn iconic moments from your campaigns into webcomics and recreate memorable scenes. The character beta is available now, so make sure to check it out and support their Kickstarter today. So there's a lot going on here, so we're just going to jump straight into it. Alex.
The goal is to read as fast as possible while you can still understand us, because there's literally, this is the wordiest subclass they've ever made.
Like, one of these abilities is more than a whole class in Sword Coast.
Yes. Anyways, all of them in Sword Coast. Okay. Wizardly Quill. As a bonus action, you can magically create a tiny quill in your free hand. The magic quill has the following properties. The quill doesn't require ink. When you write with it, produces ink in a color of your choice on the writing surface. The time you spend to copy a spell in your spellbook equals 2 minutes per spell level. If you use the quill for the transcription, of course, why would you not? You can erase anything you write with the quill if you wave the feather over the text. As a bonus action, write the text within 5 feet of you. The quill disappears if you create another one or if you die.
So you can write stuff.
You can magically write stuff in any color. You can copy your spells down faster, and you can make it disappear in ink if you're within 5 feet of it.
There you go.
Boom. Also, level 2, Awaken Spellbook. While you're holding the book, it grants you the following benefits. You can use the book as your spellcasting focus for your wizard spells. You can cast a wizard spell with a spell slot. You can temporarily replace its damage type.
Ooh.
This is where it gets fun. With a type that appears in another spell in your spellbook. So, any. Got it. Because you're a wizard. Which magically alters the spell's formula for this casting only. The latter spell must be the same level as the spell slot you expend. So maybe there's a little bit of limitation there, but you're a wizard, so all of them. When you cast a wizard spell as a ritual, you can use the spell's normal casting time rather than adding 10 minutes to it. Once you use benefit, you can't use it again if you finish a long rest. If it's necessary, you can replace the book over the course of a short rest by using your wizardly quill to write arcane sigils in a blank book or a magic spell book to which you are attuned. At the end of the rest, your spellbook's consciousness is summoned to the new book, which is consciousness is transformed into your spellbook, in which all the spells are kept. Previous books still existed somewhere else, and spells vanish from its pages. So, it's a lot easier to get your spellbook back if you lose it.
Yeah,
it's destroyed or whatever else.
Yes.
Faster ritual spell once per day, changing damage type, which is awesome. And then you can use your book as spellcasting focus, and we're keeping like some other little odd trinket or whatever your spellcasting.
Yes. Then, there's a lot going on. There's
your
a lot
turn.
To go. Level 6, we have Manifest Mind. As a bonus action, while the book is on your person, you can cause the mind to manifest as a tiny spectral object hovering over a space you choose within 60 feet. The spectral mind is intangible and doesn't occupy its space. It sheds a dim light in a radius of 10 feet, and it looks like a ghostly tome, a cascade of text, or a scholar from your past, your choice. While manifested, the spectral mind can hear and see dark vision of 60 feet. Mind can telepathically share with you what it sees and hears, no action required. Whenever you cast a wizard spell on your turn, you can cast it as if you were in the spectral mind's space instead of your own using its senses. You can do so a number of times per day equal to your proficiency bonus, regain all uses on a long rest. As a bonus action, you can cause the spectral mind to hover up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space that you or it can see. It can pass through creatures but not objects. The spectral mind stops manifesting if it is ever more than 300 feet away from you. If someone casts a spell magic, if the awakened spellbook is destroyed, if you die, or if you dismiss it as a bonus action. Once you conjure the mind, you can't do it again until you finish a long rest, unless you expend a spell slot of any level to conjure it again. So you make a magical book, it has a little bit of light around it, you can cast spells from it, you can see through it, and you can move it around, it can pass through objects. Yeah, another way to kind of do some shenanigans.
Bingo.
Level 10, Master Scrivener. Whenever you finish a long rest, you create one magical scroll by touching your wizardly quill to a blank piece of paper or parchment, causing one spell from your awakened spellbook to be copied onto the scroll. The spellbook must be within 5 feet of you when you make the scroll. The chosen spell must be first or second level, must have a casting time of 1 action. Once in the scroll, the spell's power is enhanced, counting as 1 level higher than normal. You can cast a spell from the spell scroll by reading it as an action. The scroll is unintelligible to anyone else, and the spell vanishes from the scroll when you cast it or when you finish your next long rest. You are also adept at creating spell scrolls, which are described in the treasure chapter of Dungeon Master's Guide. The golden time you spend to craft a spell scroll is halved if you use your wizardly quill. So basically, you can empower a first or second level spell once per day, essentially, because no one else can read it except for you.
Right.
So it's just going to be for you. You can't like read it or write it down and then give it to somebody else to cast it. It's still going to be yours. It's basically giving you a free spell slot, essentially.
And finally, level 14, one with the word. While the book is on your person, you have advantage on all intelligence arcana checks, as the spellbook helps you remember magical lore. Moreover, if you take damage while your spellbook's mind is manifest, you can prevent all of that damage to you. Again, all of that damage to you by using your reaction to dismiss the spectral mind, using its magic to save yourself. Then roll a 3d6. Man, this is a weird thing. The spellbook temporarily loses spells of your choice that have a combined spell level equal to the roll or higher. For example, and this is, again, I'm reading this out slower because this is complicated. If the roll's total is 9, spells vanish from the book that have a combined level of at least 9. Should be 1 9th level spell, 3 3-level spells, a 6 and a 3, math. Or some other combination. If there aren't enough spells in the book to cover this cost, you drop to 0 hit points. So know how many spells you have left in your book before you take the damage. And before you have to roll the 3d6. Until you finish 1d6 long rest, you are incapable of casting the lost spells, even if you find them on a scroll or in another spell book. After you finish the required number of rest, the spells reappear in the spell book. Once you use this reaction, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest.
Yes.
So again, it's a very, very costly defensive, but if somebody's like, finger death, you're like, nah, man.
Yeah, I'm dealing with that.
I'm just not doing it.
Right. It's the get out of jail free card once a day, essentially.
Yep.
Now, if you are burning through all your spells, I mean, you could have potentially up to, it's 3d6. You could roll an 18, and you're going to be getting a lot of spells you're not going to be able to cast for X number of days.
Right.
So
hopefully you're not rolling, 5-5-6 or 6-6-4, but
yeah, I think the point is if you're taking 30 damage, you're not going to be using this. If you're taking 60 damage or 70 damage,
yeah,
you're going to consider it.
You're going to think about it.
Yeah.
Depending on, because you're a wizard, so
yes,
50 damage is more than half your health.
Also make it your life mission to acquire as many spells no matter
possible.
how terrible they are.
Yes.
Just so that
because you're a wizard. Like if any class could handle this ability and not feel like absolutely destroyed by its existence, it would be a wizard.
Yes.
Because you can know all the spells.
So,
get oxygen back.
All that being said,
again.
Those are all the abilities gained in the subclass.
I promise.
That's a lot. There's a lot going on. It's very complicated. If you need to, go ahead, go back, pause, read the screen because there's a lot, and it can be hard to comprehend everything that's going on because there is a ton. This is probably the wordiest subclass in 5th edition, I think. So it's definitely
it's got my vote.
Definitely. But all that being said, first up we have the roleplay value. Asterisk, as always. Talking about roleplay value, we're talking about interacting with the world around you, interacting with NPCs, non-combat scenarios, avoiding combat, basically things outside of the initiative order. Not talking about your class fantasy, history, lore, background that's on you as a player, can't rate you, but we can rate the abilities gained and how they improve your potential in roleplay scenarios. So, all that being said, you'll see in every single one of these abilities, there is some form of roleplay potential.
Sure.
Though, to be fair, some of these are more on the niche side of things.
Sure.
So, obviously writing invisible ink kind of stuff is not going to be super helpful all the time. So that would be one example of something.
Being able to change the color.
Or changing the color of ink. I mean,
that's a flavor thing.
Also,
strictly a flavor thing.
There could be some very strange circumstances where maybe you need to try to copy something very closely, and it's very specific, but again, very niche.
Yep.
And then you can do some wonky stuff where being able to cast spells or see through the mind of your spellbook awakened. So you can definitely do some shenanigans with that. But it's definitely very interesting.
Sure.
Lots of potential to do some shenanigans for sure with this, especially just having a little... I just think it's very interesting to have like an awakened spellbook, and depending on how much your DM really wants to get into that, you can really do some interesting stuff.
I mean, because you could be kind of like a nervous tick kind of guy, and it's like you're hearing the voices in your head, but it's actually like over there. It's kind of ghostly, so maybe somebody sees it, maybe they don't.
Yes.
There's a lot of fun ways to play it for sure.
Definitely. So we went with a solid 4 for the RP. Lots of potential, though some of it is niche, hence just a 4, not anything more.
On the combat side of things, there's promising things, primarily the obvious. You get to use your spell book as your focus, which is good. It's one less thing you have to worry about. It's a convenience thing. And you can get it back easier, I think, is of all the important things, which kind of helps both your combat and your RP, because if you don't have your spell book, you don't have your spells, because you're a wizard.
You're in trouble.
Because you're stuck with what you got. You can't change them. But the biggest thing, again, for me that kind of lit my eyes up when I read it, is being able to change the damage type of a spell.
Yeah.
Primarily, it's going to be flavor. If you just kind of like it to pick a damage type, fine. But once you get out there, explore the world, you start running into creatures that have damage resistances.
Right.
As soon as you cast a spell on something or somebody else does, and you find out, oh, it didn't look to be harmed by that cold damage. Well,
we can change that.
This ray of frost is about to be a ray of poison, son.
Yeah.
Or a ray of psychic, or whatever you want it to be.
Switch it up.
The thing to keep in mind, though, is that, again, it's got to be of the same level spell. It has to have, you cast this spell and it does cold damage. Ice Knife, for example, level 1. You have to have a level 1 spell slot.
Right.
Or level 1 spell known that does a different damage type. You can't do a level 3's damage type for a level 1 spell.
Right.
So
you're going to want to be trying to, again, acquire lots of spells so you have lots of options. Even if the spell is terrible, but it does, like, psychic damage, you're like, yeah, now we can make psychic damage.
Melf's acid arrows, it doesn't do a lot of damage, but it gives you access to acid damage
for
level 2 spells. So it's a thing. Also, your book being able to give you an extra point to cast from.
Right.
May not just necessarily increase your range, because you got a lot of spells that go a long way, but I think will help you get around maybe some partial cover and things like that.
And even, actually, it says you can cast from its vision. So you can actually be under full cover and cast. Because that's a lot of things. A lot of these things that have, like, I think Arcane, or not Arcane, I think the Trickery Domain Cleric has where you have your duplicate, but you have to see the same spot that it sees, because it doesn't see. You can't cast through. You can cast through it, but you can't cast through its vision. You have to be able to see what it's.
This you can literally like go prone behind like a 4-foot rock wall. It's like, nope, I'm not here.
Yeah.
And finally, you also finally, there's 2 things left. The other thing you can do is that free extra buff spell a day. So you make your little spell scroll, which you can copy down faster because you got your fancy little quill there. And it becomes a spell higher. It's going to be level 1 or level 2, so you're not copying down a chain lightning and it becoming really stupid. It's got to be level 1 or level 2, but again, as a personal fan, if you watched any of our videos, hold person is the first thing that comes in my brain, because instead of now targeting one thing, it targets 2 things, you don't have to use a spell slot for it, so that's fun.
Yes.
And finally, the big capstone defensive is... It's punishing, but again, you're not reducing damage. You're saying no to damage from a single target. So again, you got to be smart when you use that, because you're going to pay the penalty of potentially losing a lot of spells. But again, be smart about it. You're a wizard. Learn as many spells as you can among your adventures. So the penalty to that is not noticed as much.
Right.
So overall, we went with a 3.5 out of a possible 5. Primarily because it's 1 free spell a day. You've got that capstone as a huge defensive, get out of jail free card, but there is a big cost to it. It's not just a free ability. Extra sight casting point is good, but nothing too crazy. Again, the biggest thing I think is you get early, and I like when you get cool things early, even if it's nothing wildly impressive or strange. Being able to change damage type to get around defensives and resistances, it's a very good thing.
Yes, for sure.
That nobody else gets to do.
Not easily.
That I can think of. There's some things that you can, like Chaos Bolt, you can kind of like by roll, you can kind of choose and pick based on what you roll.
It's definitely not a very accessible thing by any means.
But it's very, very cool.
Yes.
I like it.
Then lastly, we have the overall class synergy. Honestly, with Wizards, you have just a couple things. You have your signature spell, which is level 3 spells, and then you have your Arcane Mastery, where you have your first and second level spells that you can cast at will or whatever, which is fine. But there's not really a ton of stuff that's going on here that's crazy in the synergy department.
Right.
You can write scrolls, which is fine, but only you can read them.
Right.
So it's very limited on there. Can be all right sometimes. I mean, it's basically a free spell slot. It is what it is.
You can copy your spells down faster. And
yes,
they do cost, those spells do cost. the scrolls cost you less to make gold wise and time wise.
Right. So there's some nice little benefits to
a lot of
able to do the
quality
scrolls.
of life conveniences.
Right. Casting spells from a second location can be very helpful. A little bit situational depending on circumstance and the layout of the battlefield, things like that.
Yep.
If you're able to like make a dome or like create cover for yourself, like completely encased, and then you're just looking through the eyes.
A druid goes like mold earth and like just puts a little dome over top of you and leaves a little hole for breath.
Yeah, right. And you just completely cast from that thing.
You stay there, buddy.
You can do some stuff with shenanigans. Shenanigans for sure is definitely possible.
Yeah.
Just take some party organization from there. The capstone is pretty crazy for sure. Again, you're going to want to be making sure you get as many spells as possible just so you can dump spells and not be afraid of it. If there's any spells that you share with another person in your party, then those are probably going to be the ones you want to dump first. Because you just say, hey, I'm not going to be casting X spells. You can cast them, so that's on you for the next couple days to make sure you handle those things.
I'm not water walking for a few days, boys.
Right. But so we just went with a flat 3 out of 5. Some interesting synergy, but it kind of goes against too. With the capstone is like, you are a wizard, you can cast everything if you have access to it. But then your ability takes away access. So it's really crazy when it works, and it can definitely save you in combat for sure. But it kind of detracts from the versatility that you have a little bit. Especially if you roll an 18. Imagine you max roll. Imagine you max roll the 3d6. And you roll a 6. So for like 6 days, you can't cast 18 spells worth of... Whew, that would be brutal. So it is possible. That's the thing. There's some unlucky people out there.
Yeah.
So, something to keep in mind. But
we have 2 of them in our play group.
Yeah, people they'll roll 1s back to back. So, it is what it is. Thanks again to our sponsor, Neverending. Make sure you check them out and back their Kickstarter so you can start giving faces to all of those characters that have only been in your head up until now. But guys, that's going to wrap it up for this one. Very wordy. It is complicated, but not super complex.
Yeah.
Indication.
All right.
Yeah, it's a word.
That explanation is like something.
Exactly. Complicated, but not too complex.
Okay.
Wait, what? So, basically sums it up. But, before we finish, we have the final quote from Tasha for the last subclass, officially, before Ravenloft. Yes. Asterisk, always.
And this one is simple and elegant, but so perfect. Magic is great and all, but have you smelled a book? Smells like dust.
Yeah. Most times.
In dead trees.
Yeah. Poor druids.
But a little extra special thank you for anybody who's been with us for the whole run of this subclass series, because math says we are...
A lot.
Oh, gosh. 115 subclasses in, which is wild. So if you've watched these in order, extra special 2 thumbs up to you. You're awesome. If you've watched them out of order because what you found interesting, 1 thumb up for you. So you still got
more to watch. You
got more work to do, but still greatly appreciated. But don't fret, don't worry. We're not going anywhere. We're just we've done our first main thing. It's kind of run the ship for a long time now, so we're going to have to morph around and some of the other ideas. I know we're going to try to maybe do some tier list subclass rankings, both on the RP side of things and the combat side of things, to kind of let us kind of delve into and kind of compare and fight
because there are some very interesting subclasses that shine in RP, but people don't ever think about them because most times when people race up, they're looking purely at combat.
Right, and we touch on it. We do mention the RP and stuff here, but it will kind of let us really hammer in some of those videos about some of the more in-depth planning and let him get a little weird with how he's able to theory craft and weave into stuff that he does. But yeah, we're looking forward to keeping you guys running with all kinds of fun stuff moving forward.
And of course, there will be new books coming out. We already know there's going to be at least 2 subclasses in Ravenloft.
Right.
There'll be more books coming, so it'll just be a slower pace. But as those come out, we'll be giving them very quickly on top of them. And so always love to read your comments, thoughts below. So if you want to see from us in the future, we got mini stuff coming. We have there will be surprises, surprises to come.
More minis to come for sure.
Lots of things planned.
Yeah, there's big surprises.
There's lots of stuff coming in this year, so stay tuned, share it with your friends, let everybody know this is the place to be. Stuff's going to be going down.
And we're going to give stuff away.
Yes, we're going to be giving lots of stuff away. The more we grow, the more we give away.
And if you guys are interested, tell us what the kind of stuff you'd like to see us give away. I know we're like the big giveaway coming up. Obviously, is the big book bundle.
Yes,
it's a hard thing to say. Big book. But we'd totally be okay with giving away, either like individual boxes of minis. Maybe we do like a big mini giveaway, so like a regular giveaway, a big mini, so it's just a regular giveaway. Anyway, let us know. We'll do it
down below, guys. And as always, thanks for watching.